The Godfather, The Departed, Casino, Goodfellas, many movies that have been made about the mafia. But what actually is the mafia? The word mafia comes from the Italian word mafiesa, which means dare to make an offer. But this is not just some small-time gang of thugs. We are talking about a worldwide organization with tentacles in everything from politics to business to organized crime. It's all connected, and there's no denying it. The mafia has been around for a long time and is more powerful than ever before. It all started back in the early 19th century, when a group of Sicilian businessmen got together and decided to take matters into their own hands. They were tired of being exploited by the government and the aristocracy, so they formed their own secret society. They made their own laws and enforced them on the island, and soon they were making millions. Today, the mafia still operates in Sicily, but it has spread to other parts of the world as well. In fact, there are now 5 main branches of the mafia. The most powerful is the Sicilian Mafia, followed by the American Mafia, the Russian Mafia, the Japanese Yakuza, and the Chinese Triads. What exactly does the mafia do? Well, they're involved in everything from drug trafficking to human trafficking to gambling and extortion. And they don't just operate in the shadows. Many mafia members live very public lives as successful businessmen or even politicians. That's because the mafia has infiltrated every level of society. They have agents in the highest levels of government as well as on the streets. They can get away with anything because they have so much power. How did the mafia get so powerful? Well, it all has to do with their structure. The mafia is run like a business, and it's a highly efficient business at that. There are 5 main levels of members in the mafia. At the bottom, you have the soldiers, who do the dirty work of the organization. Above them are the captains, who lead the soldiers and take a cut of the profits. Above them are the board members, who oversee multiple crews of captains. Above them are the underbosses, who basically run the day-to-day operations of the organization. And at the top, you have the boss. It's the one who makes the big decisions, and he is the one who has the ultimate power. Now, this might sound like a lot of people to be in charge, but trust me, it works. The mafia is able to make quick decisions and act fast when needed. This is why they are so successful. Let's say, for example, that the government is closing in on one of their drug operations. The underboss will order the captains to move their product to another location. And then the board members will make sure that the soldiers are ready to defend the new stash. All of this happens very quickly and efficiently, which is why the mafia is so hard to beat. One of the reasons that the mafia has been able to stay hidden for so long is because of their code of silence, or omerta. If you know anything about the mafia, you probably already know about this. Basically, if you are a member of the mafia and you are arrested, you are not allowed to talk to the police. You must remain silent no matter what. If you break the code of silence, you will be killed. This is what happened to Joe Messino, who was a high-ranking member of the Bonanno crime family. He was arrested in 2004 and eventually agreed to cooperate with the government. He testified against his former colleagues, but it wasn't enough. The mafia still believed that he knew more than he was saying. So in 2015, he was ordered to be killed. Luckily, the government was able to protect him, and he is now in witness protection. But not everyone is so lucky. Many mafia members have been killed for breaking the code of silence, and this is why it is so difficult to bring down the mafia. They won't talk to the police, so it's hard to get evidence against them. Even if you do have evidence against them, they have a lot of money, and they use that money to get the best lawyers. The mafia is not an organization that takes things lying down. If you go after them, they will come after you. So how do we fight back against the mafia? The best way to fight the mafia is to hit them where it hurts. Money. The mafia is a business, and businesses need money to operate. Where do you think the mafia gets their money from? Well, mostly from extortion and illegal activities. The mafia extorts money from businesses and individuals, and if you don't pay up, they will make your life miserable. They will threaten you, your family, and your employees. They may even damage your property or hurt you. The mafia also makes money from illegal activities such as drug trafficking and gambling. And because they are involved in so many different illegal activities, they are very hard to regulate. How do we stop the mafia? One way to stop the mafia is to make it harder for them to make money. For example, the United States government has been working to shut down the banks that the mafia uses to launder money. They have also been working to make it harder for mafia members to get loans. These are good steps, but they're not enough. We also need to go after the mafia's other sources of income. For example, we could crack down on the drug trade, or make it harder for mafia members to gamble. Another way to stop the mafia is to go after their structure. Remember, the mafia is run like a business. This means that they have to follow certain rules and regulations. If we can find a way to exploit these rules, we may be able to bring down the mafia. For example, we could require that mafia members register their businesses, or we could make it harder for them to hire new members. These are just a few ideas, but there are many other ways that we could go after the mafia's structure. Another way to stop the mafia is to go after their assets. The mafia has a lot of money, and they use that money to fund their activities. If we can take away their money, we will make it harder for them to operate. For example, we could seize their property, or we could put their businesses under government control. This wouldn't be easy, though, because the mafia has a lot of money and good lawyers. They will fight tooth and nail to keep their money. But it would be worth it because it would cripple the mafia. And finally, the last way to stop the mafia is to go after their members. The mafia is made up of people, and people can be controlled. If we can find a way to turn the mafia members against each other, we will be able to break up the organization. This is what happened in the early 1980s, when the American mafia was broken up. The government was able to get several high-ranking members of the mafia to cooperate. They testified against their former colleagues, and this led to the downfall of many mafia families. It's hard to do, but it can be done. We can't let the mafia continue to operate. They're a threat to our society, and they need to be stopped. So what can you do to help? Well, first of all, you can educate yourself about the mafia. The more you know about them, the better equipped you will be to spot them and stop them. Secondly, you can report any suspicious activity to the authorities. If you see something, say something. Finally, you can support organizations that are working to fight the mafia. There are many groups out there. They're doing great work, and they need all the help they can get. Together, we can make a difference and put an end to the mafia. In today's world, the mafia is more powerful than ever before. They are involved in everything from drug trafficking to human trafficking to gambling and extortion. They operate in every country, and they have agents in every level of government. So how can we win the war against the mafia? The answer is simple, but it will not be easy. We need to hit them where it hurts: their money. The mafia is a business, and businesses need money to operate. We need to make it harder for the mafia to make money by cracking down on their sources of income. We also need to go after their structure and their members. The mafia is a highly efficient organization, but it's made up of people, and people can be controlled. If we can find a way to turn the mafia members against each other, we will be able to break up the organization. It won't be easy, but it can be done. Let us know what you think. What do we need to do to win the war against the mafia? Check out these other videos.